So, today is the 25th of February, which here in America is apparently National Chili Day. And it's also, if you'll forgive the pun, a little bit chilly outside. It was snowing and it's cold and windy and miserable. So it seems like a perfect opportunity to mark that day, which is also a chili day, with my favourite and only at the moment chili liqueur. It's a poblano chili liqueur called Angostura, and it seems that maybe we could make a cocktail that utilises that spiciness, and it could be something kind of interesting. I'm not really sure though that I should be the person making a spicy cocktail. I wouldn't say that me and spice always have been the bestest of friends. Certainly back in the 90s when I moved to Peru, to Lima, to take over the running of the South American Explorers Club, I was taken out by the outgoing manager for a lunch just after I arrived there. It was January, and it was summer in Lima, quite warm. It was a nice day, and I went out to meet some future friends, people like Max and Bruce, I think, but I can't remember who it was exactly. But I was taken out for a ceviche, and it is actually my favourite food, I think. Maybe in the world. I love it, and this was my first time having a really quite decent one, and it was sitting there in front of me. It was a fish, and there was on top of it what appeared to be a plump and juicy slice of red bell pepper, which after I'd been in a little bit of the spicy ceviche, I thought that would be tasty. I took a great big bite of it, and people started looking at me, and I realised why straight away as my mouth started burning. It turns out it was not a bell pepper. It was in fact an ají ricotta, which is a ricotta pepper, and it is very hot. It's not quite in the Scotch bonnet level, but it's very close, ranging between 4 and 40 times more potent and hot than a jalapeno. My mouth is on fire. I drank water, I drank beer, I drank anything that was there, and ran outside thinking, oh, suck in some cold air to cool down my burning mouth. But it was Lima. It was polluted, it was smoggy, it was a hot day, and I was breathing this in and choking and coughing and crying, and they're all looking at me, these future friends, like, what an idiot. And yes, I was. But nonetheless, that is not deterring me. Now we're going to make this cocktail today. And it's one that I created. I couldn't find quite the drink that I wanted to make with my anchoas, so I have created the burnt Manhattan. It is, of course, a riff on a Manhattan. And the other ingredient, apart from the chili liqueur I mentioned, I'm going to use this Byrrh quinquina, which is an aromatized wine, as Lillet Blanc is, although this is a red one, and it uses the bark of the cinchona tree, so the same stuff that leads to quinine, or as we say in England, or quinine as it's said in America. And so another bit of a South American theme here, even though, well, the Angostura is from Mexico, but my story was from Peru, so I'm wearing a Peruvian football shirt from Huancayo, just to sort of get into the mood a little bit. But like I said, this is a riff on a Manhattan. As I said, it's called the Burnt Manhattan, and that means I'm going to be using rye whiskey here, and it's going to be 2 ounces of that into my mixing glass that already has been filled with ice by yours truly. And the proportions on a Manhattan are 2 to 1. Typically it's 2 parts of the whiskey, 1 part of vermouth. I've already mentioned one of the sort of vermouth-like drinks that I'm going to be using. That's the Byrrh. I'm going to split the difference with the other one. So I'm going to use half an ounce of the quinquina, the Byrrh aromatized wine, half an ounce then of the chili liqueur, and hopefully it won't leave me choking and dying and looking like an idiot in the way that the ricotta pepper did. And that is a half an ounce of that as well. I'm going to put some bitters in. I'm going to go for about 3 dashes of orange bitters, followed by 1 dash of regular Angostura bitters. We are going to stir this until it's nice, and you know what I'm going to say, it's nice and chilly. And sorry, what can you do? Puns, the order of the day, obviously. Anyway, we'll stir that for about 20 seconds or so, bruising the ice, but not crushing it in the way that shaking would do. that should do us there. We are going to pour it into our cocktail glass. Right there. Similarly to a Manhattan, we are going to garnish this with a maraschino cherry. I'm using one of my Luxardo maraschino cherries that I do in fact love. We'll put that there. And then this takes one other, because it's a burnt Manhattan and sometimes you want a bit of flair and the rest of it, we're going to go for a flamed twist of orange peel, because it's, as I said, it's a burnt Manhattan. The oils will still go there anyway, but we're going to light this and express the oil, try not to, over the drink, and it's only a slight spark, but I can see the drops of orange oil in there. That wasn't very spectacular, I'm sorry about that. Maybe you can do better, squirt it out to get the flame. But I can see the drops of the orange oil on top. Let's see what we've got. Ah, and that is hot stuff. Cheers.